Thank you for returning, guys. My question today is, how come President Trump is still, proceeding to become in office with all of the things against him legally? All of the cases that he has. So first of all, the question that popped up into my head was, can someone who is a felon vote? Because first of all, I was thinking you can't even vote if you have a record, but I think I'm wrong. So I have this article up from Newsweek. It says that states have different rules on how and when felons can vote in elections, resulting in more than 4 million people being locked out of voting in America because of a past or current conviction. So basically, that's saying that it varies from state to state. Vermont and Maine allow for all people to vote regardless of felony status, and most states allow for all people to vote except for those who are actively incarcerated, but some states have a more complicated approach to felony voting, according to the Brennan Center's disenfranchisement laws. Some states have laws that allow people to vote after completing their sentence, but the definition of a completed sentence differs. Other states allow for some former felons to vote. So, I don't know, I just thought that went hands in hand with the fact that we have a president who is elected and, going to be in office. And I thought that bare minimum that even we can't vote if we have a record, but clearly that is not true. So, okay, let's get rid of that. And I have another article here from NBC4 Washington, because I wanted to find out, how can President Trump still proceed in office if he's basically considered a felon? So this article is from Noah Pransky and Mike Gavin. This was published last year, January 30th, 2024. Question is, can a presidential candidate run for the office while they sit behind bars? And I'm just going to skim through here. It's basically saying that the question is as timely as ever because former President Donald Trump, the presumptive Republican nominee for 2024 presidential election, was found guilty on all counts Thursday in connection with the hush money payment to adult film actor Stormy Daniels during his 2016 presidential campaign. So the answer is yes, he can. So and he was able to. We saw that. We saw him run for office. So it says here, a convicted or imprisoned felon can not only campaign for president and other federal offices, but also be elected. Can a felon run for president? The U.S. Constitution does not explicitly prohibit a presidential candidate from running for office while under indictment or even while serving time behind bars. Are you kidding me? How is he going to run the country behind bars? Anyway, eligibility requirements for presidents state only that they must be at least 35 years old, be a natural-born citizen of the U.S., and have been a resident of the country for at least 14 years. So, a criminal record, an orange jumpsuit, and being on the wrong side of prison bars will not necessarily prevent someone from becoming president. It's the voters who have the power to do that. Okay. So also the article talks about this not being the first time that, a president has been in this situation. So it says just over a century ago, Eugene V. Debs served as the Socialist Party's nominee in 1920 while he was imprisoned for speaking out against the World War I and convicted under the Sedition Act. Debs ran as a free speech martyr and collected about 3% of the vote, which was about 915,000 votes. So can you run for Congress? Okay, that's not relevant to what we're going to talk about. Okay, can Trump be president if convicted? The Constitution does not specifically disqualify candidates for public office due to criminal records. Some people have argued that Trump's actions are different because they violate a key part of a constitutional amendment. Some courts and election officials have also argued that Trump's actions before and on the day of the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021 should deem him ineligible for office under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which disqualifies people who engaged in insurrection or rebellion after taking an oath to support the Constitution. Oh, I could have just used this article for everything. It asks the same question that I wondered because I thought they went hand in hand. The information that I got from Newsweek is also in this article. Can felons vote? Because that was my thing. I feel like if there's a standard for voters, there should be a standard for the president. But it looks like there is not a standard, or a state to state rather. Anyway, back to the question. Can felons vote? In another interesting twist, though, while Trump would not lose the ability to run for the president, if convicted of a felony, he could lose the right to vote. Oh my God. But the other article said that you could. Well, actually, maybe this could be right because it does say state to state. And maybe that's for New York. He's from New York. Okay, let's see what it says. Trump is registered to vote in Florida, where most disenfranchised felons do not regain their right to vote until after completing their full sentence. Okay, so that does coincide with what the other article said, including parole or probation. Anyway, I'm really here to talk about the case. Oh my God, where is the article? All right, so I'm really here to talk about what is this? Okay, so was Donald Trump found guilty of the R word against E. Jean Carroll? Gorgeous woman. She has a wonderful career as far as I read. So let me just get into her a little bit, because I feel like when something like that happens to someone, it's just disrespectful to talk about just what has happened to them without first respecting the fact that, okay, E. Jean Carroll. So she has now been tied to Donald Trump, but let me just read a little bit about who she is. She was a trailblazer in New York City elite literary circles. And you look at the pictures, to me, I look at her like she's a fashionista, gorgeous woman, but she's in the elite literary circle. So this is an intelligent woman. She was an advice columnist who appeared on TV. But before all of that, she was a hoosier. I hope I'm pronouncing that word right. And I'm getting this from an article on MSN. She was a cheerleading beauty queen from Fort Wayne who graduated from Indiana University in the 1960s. Caroll grew up in Middle America, and she turned out to be a writer. So the E stands for Elizabeth. Her full name is Elizabeth Jean Caroll. She's a lauded writer, journalist, author, and advice columnist who was featured in Elle magazine for nearly 30 years until 2020. Wow, that's amazing. So she did write for Saturday Night Live in the 1980s, and she hosted Ask E. Jean, which was a TV show that aired from 1994 to 1996, and she served as a precursor to MSNBC's America's Talking. It's so fit that they have this article talking about her because she actually worked for them at some point. So it's so fit. This article is really amazing. It has so many great pictures of her as well. So her writing is basically known for like humor and empathy. She's been featured in publications like Rolling Stone, Esquire, and Playboy, where she was the first woman to serve as contributing editor. Wow. Trailblazing. Wonderful. Okay. So also, in quotes, there weren't a lot of women who were being hired by men's magazines, and she was. So that speaks a lot to her talent. She is, she's from the Midwest. She grew up in Fort Wayne. She is the oldest of 4 children from her parents. She's an IU graduate, Indiana University, class of 1967. Oh, wow. She was named Miss Indiana University. You go, girl. As well as Miss Cheerleader USA, which earned her a scholarship. Wow. So, I mean, she's really, 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 really awesome. So, she sued President Donald Trump. Caroll, I'm sorry, E. Jean Carroll. She's now 80 years old, and Trump is currently 77. Her claims were that he essayed her in a New York City department store dressing room roughly 30 years ago. And President Trump has publicly denied these claims. And I think there's something to say about these kind of things. The reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of the stories that have been coming out are very similar. And then he has said it out of his own mouth, right? Grab her by the, So these are things that it looks like it fits the bill. It fits his character. It fits what he has been doing and possibly getting away with allegedly for a long time. So this is her account. This is briefly her account of what happened. The moment the dressing room door closed, Caroll said Trump lunged at her, shoving her against the wall where he next pulled down her tights. Caroll gave a graphic account of the assault, both in her book and in a later article. Yeah, this has really been, it sounds like it's really traumatized her and has been haunting her, because for her to write a book about it and also an article, it's, wow. So what happened is that in May, a jury found Trump liable for essaying Caroll, but not for the R word. Trump was also found guilty of defaming Caroll in 2022 when he called her a quote-unquote con job. He was ordered to pay $5 million. A civil defamation trial was set for January to determine how much money Trump should pay additionally after damaging Caroll's reputation. So what exactly did he say about her? He strongly denied the accusations in 2019. In quote, he said, "I've never met this person in my life. She's trying to sell a new book that should indicate her motivation. It should be sold in the fiction section." A photo of Trump and Caroll together was taken around 1987, years before the alleged assault, along with Trump's ex-wife Ivanka Trump and Caroll's then husband. I did put that photo in the slide there with everybody labeled. Trump called Caroll's allegations a disgrace and said people should pay dearly for such false accusation. Trump's tone hasn't shifted much. On Wednesday, a New York judge threatened to toss Trump out of the courtroom after the belligerent ex-president could be heard making disparaging comments about Caroll within earshot of the jury. Oh my gosh. So also following this, and I think this is the reason why she won the defamation case, because also there's reports that, E. Jean Carroll has been threatened by Trump's supporters. She has received numerous threats ever since she went public. One supporter of Trump said, quote, in quotes, "penalty for lying about rape should be execution by hanging or firing squad," while another said, in quotes, "stick a gun in your mouth and pull the trigger and send yourself to hell." Caroll said, "I spent 50 years building a reputation. Now I'm known as a liar, a fraud, and a whack job." So, wow. So Trump is to pay $83 million to E. Jean Carroll on January 26th. So this is from last year. This is an article from last year. So on January 26th, the former president was ordered by a federal civil jury to pay Caroll $83.3 million for defaming her in 2019 when he denied her allegations of essay and said people should pay dearly for such false accusations. Caroll was awarded $18.3 million in compensatory damages and $65 million in punitive damages. John Tufts covers trending news for the, never mind. That's something on the bottom of this article. Anyway, my question, is basically, or was, would he still be able to proceed with, the presidency with all of this going on? And apparently, according to the other article that I read to you guys, Newsweek and The other article, I think that was from MSN. Apparently, he will be able to proceed. Oh, actually, there was another one. There's another case. There's another case. Okay. There's another case that he actually lost as well. So remember, a jury of 12 New Yorkers found Trump guilty on 34 counts of falsifying business records in May after a 6-week-long trial. So he is supposed to be getting sentenced to that on January 10th, but apparently the judge is not going to be sentencing him to time. I think it's going to be, let me see here. Let's see. The judge overseeing the criminal case against Donald Trump in his home state of New York has ordered the president-elect to appear before him on January 10th to be sentenced. Okay, in a stunning 18-page ruling released on Friday, acting Justice Juan Merchan said he would not sentence Trump to a term of incarceration, but would instead impose a sentence of unconditional discharge, meaning a sentence of no jail time, probation, or fines as the most viable solution, and permit Trump to continue to appeal the case. Sentencing, which Trump's lawyers tried to fight on the grounds of immunity, will occur just 10 days before the president-elect is inaugurated. Wow. What a bit of favoritism. How lucky is he? You know, I don't think any of us would be that lucky that the judge would say, hey, I'm for sure not going to give you any time. I'm going to allow you to continue to appeal this case. So what do you guys think? Comment down below.